48 seconds. Now Jeff Adler with a couple reps remaining. And Jason Hopper has 7 to go. He's on the left side of that green shirt. Final rep for Adler. It's now time some heat number 1 are starting to factor in here. Adler's done. And no surprise that Justin Medeiros won this event. He also won the Lock Muscle Up event in the Rogue Invitational in 2022 as Jake Sprague has 1 rep left. Sprague is up and over, and the 2024 CrossFit Games champion makes his way to the finish line. Krennikov, Hopper, and Gubitson still on the floor. So the launch strikes again for Jason Hopper as Roman Krennikov is across.
It's certainly the log. We knew Jason was going to have some struggles here, but even coming through the early part of that chipper, it looked like he had run into a bit of a wall. He looked gassed kind of coming into this.
You'll recall Gubitson is done. And Hopper is up and over, and he will get it inside the time cap. But not the start he wanted in his 2025 Rogue Invitational. 11:41.78 seconds. And Justin Medeiros, 9:46 flat. He was the last man off the double unders, but what a charge after that portion of this event.
Yeah, 8:46 flat, 8:46.
It's my eyes.
No, listen, that's because I put on a superhuman show just now. That's why you were like, oh, okay, it's got to be logical, 9:46. No. This guy, what a way to start the weekend. And they're doing their best to just maintain in their own mind here.
Grace Wolf and Olivia Kerstetter, the first 2 women in the handstand walk. Emma Tall sits in 3rd, Juliano and Rogers also on this 80-meter handstand walk. So 2 total laps, 4 legs.
15 left.
Walt and Kerstetter making the turn. They are dead even right now. Walt making her first appearance with the Rogue Invitational. Olivia Kerstetter continues and is now in the lead. As Paige Rogers is now in 3rd place ahead of Emma Tall. Haley Adams is still back on the road, going for the 160 double unders.
Yeah, we talked about it being a place where we know Haley Adams, that's not a strength of hers, as we see her pretty high and erratic jumps finish up there. It's not a place where you can lose that much time and still hope for a good finish. Hopefully she can make some of it up here on the handstand one.
Well, Walt and Rogers are now towards the front. Emma Tall is now in the lead. As Haley Adams is finished. She's in the lane next to Emma Tall. It's Rogers and Walt who are in the lead here. Rogers and Rogers lead. Box jump overs.
Paige, one of those athletes that's going to be eyeing to get herself into that second heat as soon as she can. Has to have that urgency. If these women were in the back watching the way the first heat of the men played out versus the second heat, they know that when athletes have that target time to beat, their time is just simply an appetizer on the menu for those next athletes waiting. So she's got to have urgency here, regardless of where she stands amongst these other competitors on the field.
Grace Walton is onto the box jump overs and chalking her hands while she does those opening reps, because that log is after these 40 reps. Kerstetter has started her set of 40, Emma Tall and now Lucy Campbell onto the box as well. So the 112 rep mark is when they are done with this portion of the event, and it's just those 16 reps on the log remaining.
athletes coming off this box are simply on those log muscle-ups. They want to remain efficient, as we see Lucy Campbell chipping away here. Elisa Fuliano there in the back as well.
The final rep for Rogers, and she'll be first to the log. 16 reps here. Well, and Campbell and Kerstead are all in a tight battle for second place behind Rogers. Rogers going with those quick singles. Walton's done. She's working her way to the log.
We've watched these quick singles be a big payoff for the experienced athletes in the field, especially those that can time the recovery just right. Gracie Walton showing that she's in no hurry to get up onto that log.
Lucy Campbell's moved into third place along with Emma Tall. Here comes Olivia Kerstetter done with the box as well. The Tall, Kerstetter, and Campbell fighting for third place right now in the heat. Rogers continues to lead.
Paige does a great job at jumping slightly behind the log, allowing her momentum to slide forward or come underneath that thing and then kick directly over.
She's got 7 reps left, got 6 remaining.
Still looking quite effortless and consistent at this point with 5 left. This is where you gotta have that internal clock and dialogue, Sean, on, hey, I gotta get back up, I gotta go faster, too slow. Because again, the other competitors that are just watching for the next heat.
Meanwhile, Emma Tall is winning the battle for second place with Campbell and Kerstetter. She's got a couple rep lead on those two. Rogers is on to her final rep. Paige Rogers, welcome back to the Rogue Invitationals. He's gonna become a heat win here in Nessie.
She didn't forget that buzzer.
9:32.60 seconds. Emma Tall looking to be the next woman to finish. She has 10 reps left.
And Sean, I'll tell you, ironically, Eliana was just making her way to the log. Now, if this is a movement that she is comfortable with, she can still make up a tremendous amount of ground with the time remaining.
We saw Ricky Garrard do that with Ben in that second heat. Well, now with 8 reps remaining on the log. Kerstetter and Fuliano fighting for third. Starting to see some no reps get handed out. Gracie Walton just missed on the bottom left-hand part of your screen. Kerstetter got no rep as well. Adams is having some trouble in the middle.
And this is where we start to see the difference between the women's challenges and the men's challenges. Of course, hand size is going to be a little bit of a limiter. The more of your fingers and palm that can stay on top of that log through your kip, the more success you can have. When we talk about the kip for a bar muscle up, people are used to being able to just swing their body however they want and trying to end up on top of that thing. With the log, it's different. You've got to remain a little bit more stiff in the bottom of your swing, otherwise your hands slip out of position.
Olivia Kerstetter right now in 5th place in the heat. She's through 120 of the 128 reps. But 8 remaining here for her. Grace Walton on the left side of your screen, working through her final set as well. Now Lucia Fuliano has now moved into 2nd place in the heat. She's got 2 reps remaining. Kerstetter on the podium at the CrossFit Games this year. And there goes Elisa Fuliano. 2nd place in the heat. 11:38.86 seconds. Paige Rogers just assaulted this thing.
Yep. Yeah, and you love to see it because the way that she executed that first part, Sean, we were like, hey, now we're going to have an opportunity to see if this work was for naught or if it was for reason, and she had plenty of reason to go fast because clearly she knew she would have success on that log.
Well, we still have another heat, but that time for Rogers looks like it's going to be a pretty solid result for her to open up this competition. Now, Abby Doman is off. She'll take 3rd place in the heat. Emma Tall and Danny Spiegel both have 1 rep remaining. Tall is off. Spiegel in the background, completing her final rep. And she'll make the run to the finish. 16-minute time gap here. Speedo gets in at 12:32.63 seconds. Half the field still working. Olivia Kersetter has 1 rep left. Just can't get up and over that log.
Yeah, just a little too low there. In order to win with the log this thick, you gotta try to pull it just a little bit lower, just below the sternum.
Kersetter just cannot get up and over that log. We've all been there.
Yeah, we certainly have. And this is where when you're watching at home, you wonder why these athletes are just standing around. It's because of the effort that it takes to even attempt one of these things. You don't want to have to waste it. You want to make every opportunity count. And every time they rush a repetition and get no rep, they're losing energy, and of course they're losing precious time.
There's Olivia Kersetter closing things out. She'll take 6th place in the heat. About 2.5 minutes remaining before we run into the 16-minute time gap. 13:29.98 for Kersetter. Lucy Campbell has 5 reps remaining. Paige Semenza is still working. She's in the light blue shirt out there. Campbell trying to get the crowd behind her. You wonder how something like this too is affecting that wrist.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, when you have wrist as a limitation, it's upside down work and work where you have to get into what we call the false grip. So that position where their hand is in a flex position over that log, you see her getting in it right now. When she puts those hands up there, that's a tremendous amount of strain on your grip strength. And Sean, you're right, that's directly related to wrist stability and capacity has been built over time.
Campbell now with 3 reps left.
And this is one of those unique experiences that come with the blessing of the challenge of competing at the Rogue Invitational, where you don't get a chance to just find a 4-inch log laying around anyone's affiliate. Athletes have been creative through the years in trying to create this stimulus in their homes, but you got to get out onto this competition floor to really know what this obstacle is like to overcome.
Final rep for Lucy Campbell. She has it. And Campbell is in. Just inside 15 minutes, less than a minute to go before we hit the time cap. 3 athletes still working. Grace Walton is one of them. She led early on in this heat. Well, I don't think Haley Adams has been able to get a single rep yet. That's the last rep for Paige Semenza. Walton has 30 seconds to complete 4 reps to get across the finish line. Looks like she and Adams are going to get capped.
That was good. I think that was one of the cleaner reps that I've seen her do in a couple minutes, Sean, and she was able to keep her hands on top of the log even through that violent kick that she gave it on the way up, and see if Haley can sneak one in.
Final couple seconds here, and Adams just can't get that to go. But Paige Rogers, wow, 32.6 seconds to pick up the heat win. And that is going to be a formidable time for the athletes in heat number 2.
Sean, we're going to talk about momentum quite a bit this weekend, especially surrounding the early events. And this is an amazing way to start. Paige Rogers was moving smoothly throughout, even on the double unders, but she got to that handstand walk and created tremendous separation through the GHD into the box jump. She kept her placing, and it was the smooth, fast singles where she's able to have great hand position throughout all 16 of these log muscle-ups. What a way to kick down the door in Nessie.
9:32.6 seconds for Paige Rogers, more than 2 minutes faster. In second place, Elisa Fuliano. Abby Yeoman will finish in 3rd. And Semental and Danny Spiegel rounding out the top 5 with Kersetter and Campbell, the 2 podium finishers from the Crossing Games, in 6th and 7th place respectively. The 1 heat remains for the women. Those athletes are making their way out onto the floor right now. Nessie, presented by Strongest, the opening event here for the women in the CrossFit competition in the 2025 Rogue Invitational. Take another look at what is in store here.
The first one is a chipper. Nessie involves 160 heavy, not normal double unders. They're going to get a good chunk of handstand walk in, GHD sit-ups, 40 box jump overs at 20 inches, only to be halted or have an opportunity to excel at the 16 log muscle ups.
When you talk about handstand walking, you got to talk about Danielle Brand.
Got to.
Not many people faster on their hands than she is. We'll take a look at the lane assignments here for this second and final heat. Brandon will be working on lane number 5. Laura Horvath, the two-time Rogue Invitational champion, will be in lane number 6. And Alex Kazan, another woman we'll be keeping an eye on here. The first time we've seen her in competition since the NorCal Classic. She'll be in lane number 4. What is at stake here, Adrian?
Yeah, the no-brainer here is momentum throughout the course of this weekend. Are we going to see Laura Horvath start to run away with this thing early? Will she be able to kick down the doors with a top 3 finish? Will some of the other competitors be able to wedge themselves into a point differential early on this way? Can she establish dominance this way? Or is it going to be a competition or a coronation is the question? Will someone rise to the occasion and start to dethrone Laura early this weekend?
Laura Horvath, the overwhelming favorite to win this competition. 9:32.6 seconds, the top time for Paige Rogers as we kick off the second and final heat with the 160 double unders with that weighted row. One rep for every 20 that they complete on the scoreboard. The first woman to 8 reps will then move on to that 80-meter handstand walk. 2 total laps, 4 lengths between those red lines. Area low in the all green taking a break.
Yeah, a lot of the double unders here looking pretty uniform. Similar jump heights for the women, similar hand speed. A couple intentional breaks. We see Kazan break there on the left. Remaining composed, this is all intentional so that she can make sure she's clean on the execution in the next handstand walk, even with the GHD sit-ups.
Kazan making her 3rd appearance in the Rogue Invitational. She's been top 5 here the last 2 years. Just missed out on a spot on the podium in 2024. And for more on her, let's go down to the competition floor with Kiki Dixon.
Sean, as you mentioned, this is Alex's first competition back since being injured in a car accident this past June. I had the opportunity to chat with her today, and she told me she feels healthy and can do everything without pain, but it is her squatting that's coming back the slowest. The biggest shift has been her perspective. She says she typically feels pressure, that she either podiums or a bust, but now she's just so happy to be here, and maybe that shift in perspective will pay off in performance. I say, come what may, Alex, we're just happy to have you back in the game, right guys?
Thanks, Kiki. Laura Horvath and Danielle Brandon, the first 2 to the handstand walk. Ariel Low in there as well. Danielle Brandon is starting to open up a lead on Horvath as now Low is moving past the 2-time Rogue Invitational champion. Brandon done with the first of 4 lengths, makes the return trip, and she's right back to work. Lowen and Horvath getting to work at the same time now as the rest of the field is pretty much on to that handstand walk. Everyone done with those 160 double unders. There's Danielle Brandon.
Yeah, folks, and if you're taking notes at home and want to know how to handstand walk a little bit better, stack your hips on top of your shoulders like Danielle Brandon. Knee, not at the hip, don't overarch. Don't look too far out in front of your hands. We're going to see some differences happening in fatigue, and that's going to lead to slowing for some of these other women. Danielle does a great job at staying stacked as we're watching her navigate this floor effortlessly, one hand in front of the other.
This is her 6th appearance in the Rogue Invitational. Her best finishes, her only 2 finishes inside the top 10. Came in back-to-back years, 9th in 2022 and 7th in 2023. She does have 1 event win in her career here at this competition, and right now leading here in the second and final heat. The time to beat belongs to Paige Rogers, 9:32.6 seconds. This is the final trip now for Rogers back down the floor as Horvath on the left and Lowen on the right are fighting for second place behind Brandon.
And I like here what Ariel even did with that decision, Sean. You know, she was watching Laura. She was like, I'm just gonna stay right by where this girl is. I'm gonna make sure that I keep my distance to her appropriately so that I can navigate these long muscle-ups, which I believe Ariel has in her back pocket as a capacity and skill set, so she's gonna navigate the pacing appropriately.
Lowe on the podium last year at the Rogue Invitational, along with Tia Toomey, Laura Horvath, as Danielle Brandon has gotten to work on her set of 60 GHD sit-ups. So looking to hit the 72 rep mark as Danielle Brandon is they got 1 rep for each length of the floor on the handstand walk. Lowen also to work on the GHDs and Laura Horvath as well. The top 3 women in this heat really starting to separate themselves from the pack.
They're going to go rep for rep for the most part here on these GHDs. I don't see anything different on the cycle rate that leads us to believe otherwise, but this is only going to be, again, they're trying to conserve what energy they can for the log as they know that'll be their chance to make moves.
Alexis Raptis in the all-black on the right side of the screen has just finished up her handstand walk. She's solidly in 4th place in the heat. And now Emma Lawson is finished up. She'll start her 60 GHD sit-ups. Alex Kazan and Brooke Wells will join the rest of the field on the GHDs. Maddie Servanel Angenes and Emily Rolfe still on the competition floor, closing out their 80-meter handstand walks. And Danielle Brandon continues to lead onto the box jump overs. 40 reps here.